Hey guys, time for more PowerShell fun. This time we're going to be talking about attaching databases. I know I said last time that I might talk about it, and as it turns out I am. So we're going to do the bulk of our work today in Sapiens PowerShell Studio. That's because from the console, again, you can see by the code that's on the screen right now, it's going to get a little bit thick, and you guys don't want to sit there and just watch me type the same thing again and again. So I've already pre-typed this one out, which is very unlike me, right? But I'm going to go ahead and type this one out to save a little bit of time. So I'll talk you through this. Now we all know why we need to attach a database, right? Because somebody detached it for whatever reason. So we're going to start off by going to the server level, right? Not the instance level, but the server level. Then we're going to set A equals directory again, like we have in the past. Now the cool thing here is that we need to define a string collection because the file list is a collection of strings, right? It's just going to be, you know, this file plus that file plus that file plus that file plus that file, right? So all the database files need to be in this string, and that's what the where is it? That's what the attached database takes. If you do a get member on it, it takes the database name as a string, and then it takes the file or the string collection class, okay, or a string collection object. All right, so we're going to set cache sc for string collection equal to new object, and then system collection specialized string collection. Now I will say, be careful when you're looking at MSDN on this, because if you copy this from MSDN, they've got some sample code in there, right? And if you copy this from the sample code on there, they accidentally put systems.collections instead of system.collections. So just know that that's there, and if you copy their code, that you will get an error, and it'll be some kind of weird error. Well, no, it'll tell you that the DLL for this isn't loaded, and it isn't because it's system, not systems. Anyway, now we have our new object, our string collection object, and now we just call its add method. So we say sc.add, and in parentheses, then we just put double quotes and then put the full path to the file name. Now, just like attaching a regular file, or I'm going to say just like attaching a file in T-SQL, the only thing you really need is the MDF, right? Remember in the last video when we were talking about detaching, how we had that method that gave us the information on all the files that are in the database, that belong to the database. It gave us the files, the full paths to the files, right? And those were the files that the database expected to see. So it's still an MDF, so it still knows where all of its files are. So you don't really need to specify all of them. All you need to do is all you have to do is specify the master file, and it knows where all the other files are. So if you haven't changed any file locations, then all you need to do is this, right? I put in all these others to show you what that would look like, right? You can just uncomment them, and there you go. And other than the master file, the only files you need to specify by hand are ones that have moved. So if I moved this one to a new location, right, then I would uncomment that one, and I would put the new location in here, and then it would know where to go find it, and it knows that the other ones are all still where they were before. So unless you've moved them all, just specify the one data file and you'll be fine. So this attach database method has 4 overloads. And every time I go to say that, I always want to say overlords. So let me comment out the second one. Let's go to the first one, and you'll see that again, we call a.attachDatabase. We give it the database name, and all we're interested in here is the file list. This is the simplest version that you're going to have, right? You just pass in the file list. So after we run this, the database will be attached. You notice how I have my trap again down here to catch any database errors, okay? So let's go ahead and run this one and see what we get. So I'll say run file in console. Okay, now it says cannot attach a database with the same name as an existing database. Well, let's see. Do we have an existing database? Let me refresh this. Yes, we do. So let's detach that guy. There we go. And let's arrow up. And we get the same error. Now, why are we getting this error? I did this on purpose, guys. The problem is with the provider itself, okay? What happened was I pulled up this window and I filled A. Let me go back to the script. I filled A, which includes a list of databases, and it got cached in my session. And you notice here that I'm dot sourcing this, right? So it got cached in my session. So since it's cached in my session, it already thinks it thinks that it's still there. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to refresh this so that I get the new database list. So if I come here and say cache a dot refresh, there. Now I get the same error message again. That's because, now that usually works, okay? But that's because in this case, there is a bug in the provider. And when I call the refresh at the instance level, it should refresh everything below it, but it didn't. And that includes databases, right? But it didn't. So what we got to do is we got to get around this bug and just refresh the database list. So I'm going to go up. I'm going to go down. There we go. So instead of a.refresh, I'm going to call a.databases.refresh. And now when I run my script, now it actually works, right? Now when I come in here to SQL and I do a refresh, well, now it's there, but it was there before. So anyway, it's a less dramatic because I never refreshed it last time. So anyway, that's how that works. You need to know that bug is there. So if you run across it in any other place, then you can fix it the same way I did and call the sub level and then .refresh, and then you should be okay. Okay, let's move on to the next method, the next overload. So I'll comment this one out. I'll put this one back and I'll Control S. There we go. So what this one is doing is this one is pulling in the database name, the string collection of the files again, right? In this case, just a string collection of one file, but it's the same thing. And this one is pulling in the attach options. And you notice that we're using an attach option class, right? And I've even got out here what the different parameters in this method mean. So here the attach options we've got set to none because we don't want any attach options. But what if we did? I meant to have this set up for you, but I forgot. So I'll copy that, and let's go ahead and bring up some attach options and see what they look like so you can see what to expect. And here's the attach options right here on MSDN. Come on, give me my page. There we go. And here are the attach options. So you can set none, enable broker, new broker, error broker conversations, and rebuild log. So those are the choices you got, and you can set that appropriately for each one of them, or as you want it, right? Right now we've got it set to none. I would go ahead and run this. Oh, why not? Let's go ahead and run it, right? So let's detach this database again. There we go. And I'll refresh. Good. So database 4 is gone. And now let's come back in here and let's run it. Got to click in here and let's run it. It should fail because of our same caching problem we had before, right? So let's come here. There we go. Let's hit refresh on that. There we go. So that one worked too. Good. Now, if I were to detach this in the window, it would be just fine. So now, let's get rid of that one and let's look at this one. So this next one, overload number 3, just takes the database name, the file list, and the database owner. Man, it's always such a good idea to set SA as your database owner, right? You don't want individual users owning databases because when they leave, there's just a big mess, right? So, you know, as much as you can, you know, set all of your database owners to SA. It's much more stable. You'll be happier in the long run. There's no need for me to run this one, right? You guys believe me that it works. And so this last one is database name, file list, database owner, and attach options. So you see that we're just, with the different overloads, we're just hitting all of the little possibilities we have here. I'll comment that out so you can. I'll uncomment it so you can see it. There we go. So and we're still setting it to none, but this time, so the first one, we're going to take all the defaults, and we're just going to run. We're just going to get the database name on the file list. On the second one, we do want some attach options, but we're going to accept the other defaults, right? On the third one, we're going to set the database owner, but we don't want any attach options. And on the fourth one, we want all of them. So I would say the only ones that you're really, really interested in are 3 and 4. These two, because like I said, you always want to attach a database with SA as the owner. You always want to create a database with SA as the owner. It's just a smart thing to do. And as far as attach options goes, attach options are okay if you need them, but as far as I'm concerned, these two, overloads 1 and 2, where it doesn't allow me to set the database owner, just don't even exist for me. So in any logical process, these are your only options. Anyway, that's all I got. By the way, when we were getting our, sorry, one more thing, when we were getting our cannot attach a database with the same name as an existing database, it's this trap code that was handling that for us, because otherwise it would just say, you know, error calling method attach database with 2 options, or with 3 parameters, right? So it would give us a very bad error message. So getting this back from the database right here, and you can tell we're getting it back from the database because it's not red, right? We're handling that exception ourselves, and it's being handled right here. So anyway, that's why we got that. All right, talk to you later.